I'm tweeting it too.
Cool.
All right, we are live on YouTube and Periscope now. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Campfire podcast. This is the Professor.
And Mitch.
And today we've got Scott Melker, the Wolf of all streets. And we just decided to do this one live out of nowhere. This was going to be a pre-recorded episode. So hopefully some of you guys are actually out there and alive and show up on YouTube and ask us some questions, because I think this is going to be a fun podcast.
I think so. I think it will too. Definitely.
So let's do this like we did the last time. So Scott, every episode, all the way up through like 123, we've asked, how did you get into crypto first? Just because our community has been so varied and people haven't heard their answers. But we decided to switch it up and start asking our weird ass questions at the beginning.
I like weird questions.
Yeah. So if you could replace your left nostril with any household object, what would it be?
A vacuum.
Oh, perfect.
That was too easy. I like it though.
It's so easy. Let's go with what would you replace your ear and your eyeball with?
My ear and my eyeball?
Your answer was too quick. Let's see what else you got hiding in there.
I don't know, coffee and more coffee, because that's all I actually need throughout the day.
Just a caffeine injector, right?
Right. And so you use that nose vacuum as like
five-hour energy. Yeah, that's right.
We just get powdered caffeine and put it on
a grinder, pitcher, and glass.
There you go. You just pour the coffee beans in one ear, they come out grounds, and you sniff them up with the vacuum.
It's now 5 o'clock somewhere, right? So maybe it should be like shaker, vodka, olive.
Right. You got the bar on this side, and you've got the coffee house on this side.
That's fucking perfect.
Yeah. Bitters, orange peel, Maker's Mark. Let's go.
Perfect. That sounds like an NFT waiting to happen.
It sure does.
All right. So let's get into the original questions that we're going to get into. I want to just first get a little bit of background on how you got into crypto. And I know this is, everybody knows this, but let's go way back. What did you first hear about Bitcoin, even if it wasn't when you first bought your first Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, it's painful, right? Because we all heard about it long before we bought it, and we'd all be on our private islands by now if we had listened to that one person who we thought was headed for the insane asylum when they told us about it the first time. It's funny, the first time I remember hearing about it, I couldn't tell you the year. It's probably 13 or 14. I was DJing, and somebody offered to pay me for a DJ gig in Bitcoin. And I told them I wanted actual money. And so, oops.
It happens.
But, when I really started to become interested was late 2016, early 2017 is when I started trading it. And I got into it because I was already a trader, and it was this sort of mythical magic land of 100x daily gains and returns. And so I came for the money, so to speak, the other money, the dirty kind.
Right.
And I tell the story all the time, but the longer I traded it and the longer that I sort of went down the rabbit hole, the more I actually started to believe in it and sort of backed my way into the actual importance of it. And, and then that sends you further down the rabbit hole of monetary policy and what money is and what central banks and governments are doing. And the further you go down there, the more important it becomes, until you just become this sort of, then now I'm the annoying guy that people think is heading to the insane asylum when I talk to them, because I'm bothering them all the time to buy crypto and buy Bitcoin. So yeah,
it's crazy how deep it goes, like there's that turning point when you actually turn from being in it for the money and you make that transition into, wait a minute, this is more than just money. This is like freedom. This is so many other things other than just financial cash, right? Or money.
Of course.
And so, it just becomes more of a passion. Anybody that trades crypto, I think, anybody that trades crypto and believes in it is more passionate about it than they are, say, a stock market person that trades stocks, right? To them, it's just they're trading money. But to us, we're dealing with the future.
Yeah, absolutely. But, to be honest, being emotionally attached to the thing you're trading is actually very dangerous and probably plays to most of the people's detriment. And actually, in the end, you end up losing that valuable asset that you care so much about because you insist on trading it away. The fact that you can trade stocks and have zero emotional attachment to it unless of course you're trading Tesla or bankrupt Hertz shares on Robinhood. You know, it's very easy to detach. It's very easy to check out on Friday and take your profit and not think about it for the weekend and come back to work on Monday fresh. And those are not luxuries that we have in this market. So, you know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, I think, you know,
Well, I guess there's
to be very passionate about it.
There's a different mental state between a trader and a holder. Right. I mean, you're talking about the mentality of a trader, absolutely zero emotion. Right. And even buying crypto, we have to be careful and not be emotional about a project that we're investing in. However, if we're in it for the long haul, we're not worried about the daily ups and downs. We're worried about 5 years from now, 2 years from now, whatever. Right. So I think there's a difference, and there's a difference between being passionate about something and being emotional about something, if that makes sense. Because
that absolutely makes sense.
I think it is possible to be one or the other.
Yeah,
well,
very difficult, but
yeah.
possible.
I mean, I think I'm passionate about it, but not emotional about it. I mean, I think that would be an apt description, but I don't think that it's always been that way. You know, it's something that you, it's sort of this like Zen state you eventually come to where it doesn't hurt so bad when you see some of it disappear. And then on the flip side, it doesn't feel as incredible when you gain it. You know, it's kind of a double-edged sword there as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that you can maintain the passion for what you're trading. And I think there are people who are very passionate about trading stocks who love the idea of the market and stuff. But as you said, it's the individual assets themselves, they're probably not that passionate about. Like,
right.
Do you really care if you're selling like General Electric stock today? Like, you know, it's just not that exciting. And like I said, unless maybe you're like a huge Tesla homer or like you have 75 Apple devices and you know, whatever.
There are those people
like me. That's definitely me. I'm the guy who like, well, it's just, I've always had them because I was a creative, but it's so funny. Like I've definitely been down that endless, the like infinite regress of Apple products where like you buy your phone and then it won't sync to your computer because your computer is too old. So you buy a new computer to sync your phone to it. And then you have to buy a new iPad because it won't sync to the new computer.
And then by the time you get the iPad,
they destroy you with every update to make sure. Yeah. And then they destroy your battery power with every single update to make sure. I mean, I know exactly what.
Now this brings up one hell of a conversation.
They pull me right back.
That's a rabbit hole, man.
We just like fell into this fucking rabbit hole about Apple or any other phone and how they become obsolete within 2 years, a year, and then all of a sudden it's almost like something happens to your phone and it just quits working.
Yeah, it's called a bug that's installed by the company to make you. Yeah, I mean, there's no mystery that they do that, you know. And then your phone, go ahead and update it. Oh, it's no longer compatible with this update. How do I go back?
Oh no!
Yeah, you can't. Just go buy a new phone.
But it's funny. I mean, it's like the speed at which technology is progressing now. I mean, I guess you can blame the company, but also I think it's just the nature of the way that information and technology have evolved. I mean, I'm 43 years old, you know, and when we were young, you could keep a phone for 20 years.
Right.
You know, it was fine. It was the same technology. It was plugged into the wall. If I called a girl, I had to talk to her dad first. Like,
well, we went to push buttons from dialing at one point.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a rotary phone hanging on the wall, that big brick, and you would accidentally pull the wire too hard, and it would either disconnect or the whole phone would come off the wall, and your mom screams at you. Yeah,
we had one of those 14 footers because my dad liked to walk while he's on the phone, so we had a really long cord.
So it's just incredible holding the phone like in one hand and the receiver in the other. Yeah. So, you know, I think it's just a function of how fast things are evolving. You know, it's just the nature of it. It really becomes obsolete. I mean, you see and the funny thing with an iPhone is it's basically just like a camera that keeps getting fancier. The rest of it is sort of the same, right?
Right.
It's like you just want that awesome camera with portrait mode on both sides and whatever. So,
well, you can seriously go broke trying to keep up with technology.
Oh yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Easily, no matter how much money you have. That's the crazy thing, because there's always some technology out there that's infinitely more expensive than the most expensive technology you can think of.
Yeah, I think you have to like draw a line somewhere, and whatever. I mean,
I don't need
there's
this
Apple
bridge building
computers
network.
that are like, there's like retail Apple computers that are like well over $10,000.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
I get it. I don't think I'll be making that 10-part motion picture that I'll need that memory and processing power for anytime soon. But you never know.
You never know. You never know. So, you know that I don't know where I was going with that.
It's gone.
It's gone. Yep, it was
It's
there.
gone.
It's in the flames. I see it.
It got burned
yeah,
away.
just it's fading away.
So Scott, are you gonna stake ETH for ETH 2.0?
Probably not. And that's nothing to do with like I'm very bullish on Ethereum. I love it. It's one of the few things that I will hold on to for dear life, so to speak. But I mean, frankly, there's like better yield on some of the DeFi platforms. You know, like you can stake ETH on Celsius, BlockFi, Voyager, all these platforms like that, and get sort of the same kind of results. No lockup, move it quickly. I don't know. And also, is Ethereum 2.0 like really happening?
I sure hope so.
I sure hope so. But
Hopefully, I mean, considering I just paid almost $70 to mint an NFT like 2 weeks ago, it fucking better be.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think
horrible.
Staking ETH for 2.0 really is going to come down to whether or not you want to participate in that platform and contribute to it. I mean, if you're wanting to do that, maybe it's not as profitable as some of the other ones, but you know, there's a reason to do it. But yeah, it's certainly not. If you want to go just stake 32 ETH somewhere and collect returns on it, it's certainly not going to pay out more than a lot of current things.
No.
Yeah, man. Can't you put it in like a sushi yam fish head farm and get like $4 million a week?
At least $4 million a week.
You can turn 32 ETH into 3,200 ETH in 12 hours.
Right.
At least.
Just ask the guy that DM me.
How long does it take to turn it back, though? That's the question.
Oh, you don't get to cash
milliseconds?
it out. You get to see it go there right before it becomes zero.
Right.
Exactly. It's
and
that
then actually,
and then
you pay 32
excitement.
ETH for the gas fees.
Right. Actually, it's probably more like 34 or 35 if we're honest. It's always just a little bit more than what you're transferring.
Although I have noticed that
gas
gas
airdrop,
fees.
like,
I have noticed that gas has dropped significantly in the past few days, which has been a pleasant surprise. It's funny. I tried to go down the first time I tried to go down the yield farming path was for Based. It was like the first day that they were doing Based. I knew nothing about it, and like 7 people at the same time were like, "You got to do Based, man." I was like, "Whatever." So
it sounds like you should be wrapping your arm up and like alcohol.
Yeah, so you go like,
shit.
you're like Based, free Based, like are we talking about Based, like the club? Yeah, but and so you had to like go buy SUSD or something, and then you had to send that into the Based, and then you had to like, provide liquidity at Base, and so you could do like a maximum of $12,000 or something, right? So I was like, I'll try it, whatever. It's a lot, but they were like, I'm making $5,000. They were like making $2,000-$3,000 a day putting it in there. It was like the second or third day. It's like, cool. I send it over there. I try to put it in there, and the gas fee is worth like $2,900. So I immediately said, I'm not doing this. And so I sent it back to like MetaMask. And then by that time, the SUSD had dropped like 17% or something in the 15 minutes that I had been doing this. I was like, so I've got to go back to ETH or Tether. So basically I like paid like $1,000 by the time I was done to like try this experiment and send my money back to the same place it was 30 minutes later. So I was like,
expensive
I had
education.
a pretty bad taste in my mouth for it the first time.
Yeah, definitely. So I remember what I was going to get into earlier. Talking about that $10,000 Mac. How much do you think $10,000 will be worth in 5 years?
Relative to what?
To
what
itself.
Consumer good?
Considering like
gold,
the inflation path, you think $10,000 is still going to get you that same? Let's not talk about the evolution of technology. Laptops are a bad option, but $1 is a dollar going to buy you a Coke in 10 years?
No, I mean we'll always continue to see inflation, even in the best of times. We see inflation, right? I mean, we don't need a global economic crisis to remember our grandmothers telling us that a Coke cost a nickel.
Used to be a nickel,
and it's a very common sort of story. But no, and I think that we're going to see an acceleration of that. I mean, the Fed is openly admitting that they're going to sort of let the reins off of inflation now, and seek maybe 3, even 4%, and. Do you trust them to be able to stop it there? I don't know.
Yeah. That's kind of the goal of that question is how bad do you think it's going to get if you were to guess?
Not that bad. It'll be, I mean, it's not going to be great if you're a struggling person who needs to buy consumer goods with your, effectively decreasing paycheck. But I don't also think that we're going full Mad Max, like hyperinflated, sea and gas town,
Right.
The people still need dollars, and no matter how many they print, they're needed all over the world. It's the world's reserve currency. It's not the same thing as the Venezuelan bolivar, where like they can debase and destroy it in a month because nobody else outside of Venezuela is using it for any purpose. And we've seen that all over the world. It's just not very easy for that to happen to the currency that everyone's transacting in, I think.
Right. There's a lot of psychological value to fiat, especially global large fiats like the dollar and whatnot.
Right. And also, I mean, there's
zero. Joe down the street still sees it as $10 when you offer it to him.
Correct. And he still wants dollars because it's
not
the
Bitcoin,
standard that
what's
he's
Bitcoin?
grown up
I can't
with.
see this. I don't know how this works. So.
Right.
How long does it take to get there?
Importantly, the money machine goes burr, obviously, is the huge meme, and but money printing is a bit of a misnomer, as we all know, right? I mean, it's all digital, and what money printing really is the Fed saying to banks, you can lend more, right? So money is only printed when the bank actually lends it. It's not just being endlessly printed in the background, and that requires banks to aggressively be trying to lend, and for banks to want to lend, but that also requires people to want to take those loans, right? And I don't think we've seen that en masse. So I think that we have a policy that says endless money printing if you need it, if there's demand, but I don't necessarily, from everything I've read or seen, and I'm not an economist, but that demand has not quite caught up yet. So I don't think we're really seeing endless money printing. Of more concern to me would be the quantitative easing and, watching the government buy corporate bonds of companies that have billions of dollars in cash is just, it's criminal. It's absurd, to
say the least.
Apple has billions and billions and billions of dollars in actual cash sitting on the side, and the government's buying their bonds to give them more cash. How does that make sense? Send that cash to like a homeless person who needs food. It's just,
good luck with that. That's the sad part.
Right. But I mean, and that has its own problems, because, a $1,200 stimulus check will be paid back $12,000 by my kids. Right. So, giving away money is just a very dangerous, it has its purposes, but it's just very dangerous. And they're giving it away to the people who need it the least and not to the people who need it the most on top of that. So
that right there,
I think it's problematic.
Yeah, that right there, I think is the big problem. Is you got these multi-billion, trillion-dollar companies that don't need money, and yet they're getting money, and it's like, really, you have these people that like you say, you can't go out and buy a gallon of milk. You got to go around pick pop bottles up to go buy a gallon of milk. It's like something's off here, and there's that line between socialism and capitalism, right? And
there's no line. It's socialism. It's not capitalism. It's it's socialism, but only for the rich. It's corporate socialism. It's
exactly.
cronyism. Right. I guess that's the point I interrupted you that you were probably making. So sorry about that.
That's all right. I was just saying, it's like the reverse Robin Hood. You steal from the poor to give to the rich. It's like
exactly what it is. And the very people who accept those funds are the ones who would probably decry socialism the most from a political perspective. And I'm not saying socialism is good from a political perspective. I'm just saying the irony is that you probably have people on the right taking a ton of money, AKA socialism.
Yeah. And
then working very hard using that money to defeat actual socialism, political socialism. And it's such a strange, like, endless loop.
So Scott, I'm going to change the subject a little bit here. You were named Influencer of the Year by Binance. What did that feel like?
It felt like I won Homecoming King, something. It was it was a popularity contest, a vote on Twitter. And to be honest, like I was the person with the most followers who was nominated, therefore I probably won. I'm gonna assume,
Right.
It's extremely flattering. I was honored that people decided to choose me, but I have no illusions that it was just like the most people who followed me probably saw it and voted, and therefore I was influencer of the year, whatever that means.
So then,
And
I was gonna say, what are your thoughts on the terms influencer versus advocate?
I'd much rather be called an advocate.
Yeah.
I think influencer is a name that's given. It's not what I would have ever aspired to, or certainly what I would have called myself.
It just sounds
because
dirty.
it does, and it does, and it was never my goal, right? I mean, I've always just been like a dude who gets passionate about stuff and talks about it to anyone who will listen, and for whatever reason that gathers followers, but it was never something, I don't know, I just never viewed myself as such, and I don't really know what it means, but to that end, like, what is an influencer and what should an influencer be? And I don't think that has to do with how many followers you have on Twitter. I think it has to do with being passionate about something and the way that you then share that and spread the word about it. Whether it's to like the one person who you bother enough that they finally buy Bitcoin, or to the 120 some thousand followers that you continue to like beat the narrative into relentlessly, whether they like it or not, which is, sort of my thing. But, being an influencer is something that people should aspire to, just not in the social media context, right? But if any of us want this to work, we need more hands on deck. Like our tiny little community that we think is so big, but is literally a speck on the speck of a speck, we saw what could happen when people got interested in 2017. The problem was we got them interested for the wrong reasons. We got them interested because they saw it as a money grab and number go up. The Dave Portnoy model, never goes down. Buy it, you'll sell it for more. And that left a very bad taste in a lot of people's mouth when that bubble popped. So we need that level of interest, but we need that level of interest because of its actual use case and importance, and not just because it could be a way to like grab money. But I think that is changing. I think that it's this time, there's no more dangerous words, as they say, than this time it's different, but it really does feel different in 2020 than it did in 2017.
It feels like people are using stuff much more.
2020.
Well, yeah, everything. Going to the bathroom feels different in 2020.
It's crazier. But yeah, I mean, it's just everybody's jumping on board with the actual platforms and starting to interact with the dApps and use the stuff instead of, like you say, in especially 2017, when all the news, everybody's reporting on Bitcoins at $20,000, and this huge rush of everybody came in just trying to make money off everything they could. So then we saw the big, huge run on altcoins in 2018, of course, and then the subsequent 3-year fallout. And obviously, a lot of those people go away and they come and go with the markets, and it gets green and they come back for a little while. But there's a pretty decent chunk of people that have stayed for that whole time. And like you say, they've just been building and they've been interacting with people and learning about crypto and all the different use cases that, I mean, it's infinite, right? The rabbit holes don't stop. And so, yeah, it feels so much different, I think, because we just see all these people out there actually using the technology and not just investing in it and trying to trade on it.
Yeah, and interestingly, I have a podcast as well, so like we're probably talking to a lot of the same people, and the recurring story I get is that the most brilliant projects were largely developed during the crypto winter, when everybody was telling these people they were nuts and like, Bitcoin's dead, this space is dead, what the hell are you doing wasting your time and money building? And those people had the conviction to build through that. And they're seeing the fruits of their labors now. I mean, some of these, even like projects that are so heavily hyped now, like Polkadot and their entire ecosystem, that was all like the people who were investing in Polkadot invested in 2017. Those were 3-year lockups, and those people are seeing their profits now. The initial investors who had the balls to invest in that with a 3-year lockup. So like you said, there's a lot of people who have been here the whole time and who stayed through it and who just continued to build and never lost belief. And I mean, that is to be lauded. That is not a small thing, because, I mean, you guys were here, right? We were all shaking a little bit. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
there were definitely times I was like, is it going to zero?
Are we really sure? Like, I'm confident that we're going to $100,000, but is it going to zero?
December
also
of 18.
maybe zero.
Yeah, but also maybe zero.
December of 18, I literally had to grab my nuts and go, what am I doing? And I'm watching Bitcoin go down to like 3,500, 3,400, 3,200. And I'm like, son of a, to hell with it. And I just started buying the dips. And
well, I was just going to say, what you do in that situation is
I just rolled the dice.
But it wasn't rolling the dice. That was the greatest buy signal there is.
Well,
Your fear and capitulation, and you and everyone else as a trader or an investor, that is the greatest buy signal that there is.
Yeah.
And when you hear everybody at 20,000 talking about your nuts for selling because it's going to 100, that's your greatest sell signal.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But I haven't felt that yet in this run. You know what I mean?
No.
I haven't
felt that. Oh my God, I should be selling right now. Why am I not selling? There's that feeling. And I remember it very well, especially from early 2018, because I mean, I didn't have a lot of money in altcoins, but I had a lot of money to me at that time. I only had an investment of $400 or $500 at the beginning of 2018. Right. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting here looking at my wallet is like $4,000 or $5,000. And at the time I'm like, I mean, that's 5 paychecks, 6 paychecks. Like,
yeah,
shit,
it's ridiculous.
Shit, what am I doing? I need to just sell all this. And I didn't. And well, I should have, I didn't take anywhere near the profits I should have, but they were, relatively speaking, small enough that it wasn't like life-changing decision. And I'm still here. I've been here the whole damn time. And
but look what we've learned since then.
That's what I mean. It's so great.
The
bear market
when the next time comes. But when the next time comes, will you have learned? That's the question.
I have. I made pretty decent on Rari, and I took 25% profits, and I was like I'm gonna fucking learn from this. I finally got a nice good run, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, I took a lot out, and not because I think I'm very bullish, like very bullish, but I always sell.
Well, you
sell some.
You have to acquire your profits at some point. You
gotta take profit, or else you're just gambling. That's one. Two, Taxman in the United States is not friendly.
No.
Right.
No.
So, I mean, just even if, no matter how much you believe in it, the very fact that like, what if it drops 50% on April 14th next year when you need the money for the taxes and you have to cash out at half,
Right.
That happens, and there were people who made tons of money and then lost it all and then owed taxes on what they had made, but had never realized those gains to dollars and ended up, I have heard these stories, but I actually know someone who like literally lost 6 figures and then owed 6 figures in taxes still.
Damn.
Because of the interplay between going back and forth between alts and never coming out to dollars or going. So nothing like paying like a, 6-figure tax bill for money that you never saw hit your bank account.
That's a crazy topic we could talk about that for hours. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but just curious, what are your thoughts on how long it's going to take for them to, or if they will ever stop considering it capital gains?
First of all, the shittiest part of it is that when they do figure it out, they're not going to refund us for all the taxes that we paid on it before they figured it out.
No.
That's the one thing that pisses me off, because they're going to fix it. I mean, listen,
they have to eventually, right?
First of all, it's like prohibitively difficult to calculate, and and the IRS is understaffed, and the odds of them like being able to even figure out your transactions when you can't is low. I'm not saying that means I pay every penny of taxes and probably more than they would ask for. But so there's that, of course. I mean, the sensible way would be to treat it like Forex or something else, dollars in, dollars out, right? I mean, I spent $5,000. I moved it all around. I pulled out $5,500. I owe taxes on my $500 gain. Like, why should we be even calculating taxes anywhere in between?
So dumb.
And the funny thing is, though, like you all remember the end of 2016, 2017, during that bull run, the greatest part about crypto was nobody thought they owed any taxes on it.
I know.
I'm a fucking millionaire scot free.
Well, that was what everybody believed.
But there really was
Anonymous.
no clarity, in 2008 until 2018, and it wasn't on their radar. So most people who made a ton of money in crypto before 2017 probably never paid taxes on it. That doesn't mean, the IRS could come up with some automation or software and go back after anyone. It's not like it's not like because you got away with it that year that you've gotten away with it. They're very good at going back.
Everything is linked, and it's not that difficult to build, especially with how machine learning is progressing. I mean, to think that they couldn't go back and analyze all the blockchain activity is just stupid.
Yeah, and then even take that to normal taxes. We're gonna end up at a digital dollar soon, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So there goes your privacy. You're not, the beautiful thing about cash.
It'll just make it easy because at the end of the year you won't have to do nothing. They have everything.
They're still gonna make you figure it out. It's the most amazing.
Right.
It's the most. That's what it is, right?
What percentage?
This is what the IRS says. This is what the IRS says. We know exactly what you owe, but we want you to figure it out. See if you can get it right. It's like a big puzzle every year. So
you're wrong. Audit.
And if you don't get it right, for too low, you're fucked. But if you get it wrong for too much, technically you get the money back.
For the cash,
do you
guys.
really get the money back? Not really.
Some people do, but they're the ones who have to alert you to that fact.
Yeah, they have to alert you, and then you have to do all the work to go get it back and correct it and all. Yeah, it's just it's a setup to fuck you, but such as taxes.
Yeah. Not my favorite topic.
All right, so speaking of topics, let's switch topics. I'm curious how the name Pookie arose.
Pookie.
Oh wow, you dug deep.
My research department is a professional.
So Pookie was my pledge name
Nice.
in my fraternity in college.
Nice.
And you may have seen a classic film called New Jack City once upon a time in our youth. I don't know if that was your thing. Wesley Snipes and Ice-T.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a character played by Chris Rock who was a skinny, erratic crackhead, and his name was Pookie. And my freshman year, the single thing that I reminded people of in my fraternity was a skinny, erratic crackhead. So I got the name. Pookie, and it stuck. And it's very strange because I have a big group of college friends. We remain friends forever, and they still call me that. So, like in public, in front of my parents, kids, it's always a really funny story. But yeah, they thought I was somewhat of a, I had I was very scrawny and totally an ADD case, like super energetic. It was a somewhat apt, at least, I could see the comparison. We all thought it was very funny, and that's why I think it stuck. Nice. So yeah, Pookie. That's a first that somebody got that deep.
How did you get Bette Midler's autograph for your mom? I got to know this story. How did that?
My mom's happen? So like Wind Beneath the Wings. Like if my parents were trying to like torture me, probably they could have just played Wind Beneath My Wings 1,000 times in a row when I was a kid, because that's what my mom did. She would like watch Beaches and cry on the couch, So my mom was a huge Bette Midler fan, like from when she was younger. So I sort of fell into a job with Target. Like I was DJing all the Target events in New York City. And then I sort of became this like the official event DJ of Target. And Bette Midler had a charity called I believe it was called the New York Restoration Project in New York City. And she would go into the worst neighborhood. Basically, they would raise money, go into the worst neighborhoods in New York City, in the boroughs generally, buy a deserted lot or park or something. And then they bring people in to clean it up and make it like a really beautiful community park. And so they did, opening events for all these parks. So I DJ'd all of the events, like the whole community would come out and Target would be there, obviously giving away tons of free stuff. So I did like 3 or 4 of these, and I got to, Bette Midler, it was like her thing. So I kind of got to know her, and I actually DJ'd her daughter's 21st birthday party at Yale as well. And so one of them, I was like, if I bring my mom, like we hang out with her, talk to her and whatever. And she was like, absolutely. So my parents flew up from Florida to New York City, and they came out. It was raining. It was outside. and I DJ'd the event and got to introduce my parents to Bette Midler, my mom. I mean, ever. And she got her autograph there on a CD and stuff. And
that is
it was
so
awesome,
cool.
man, because like she's really my mom's idol, It's
Yeah,
funny.
right?
I got to see both of my parents meet their idols at some point in my life. My dad's idol is Sandy Koufax, who's a pitcher for the Dodgers. Yep. Yeah. And we went to like Vero Beach for Dodger Town for Dodger spring training. And Koufax, we didn't even know, like, was a coach. He was like, or whatever. Actually, the ball is right back there. Sandy's his autograph is right back behind me. And it was the only time I've ever seen my father like dumbstruck and speechless. We had to like push my dad over to take a picture of him. It's crazy. So I somehow got to witness that, because those are probably the two people in the world that my parents would have wanted to meet the most.
That's cool.
That is totally cool.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story. Thanks for sharing that with us. That was awesome. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool.
So how did you end up having an NFT with your face and name on it? Did you create that, or was it a community situation, or like how'd that come to be?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even aware of it.
No. Okay. There's I guess I don't know if it's a
should I be
NFT
worried
or not, but let me look closer at my research department's notes.
Yeah, maybe.
It certainly looks like it says on
BitArt.
BitArt.
Yeah. Okay, that guy. Yeah,
looks like the Metallica logo, and
it's
right.
It's like red or something.
Yeah.
So they did that years ago. I didn't know actually they made an NFT at the time.
I don't know if it's an NFT.
He hit me up. Yeah, he's awesome. And he hit me up and was like, I made this for you. And he did them for a whole bunch of people, and I shared it around. It's really cool. Yeah. So that was just like a guy who, he said he does art inspired by different people and projects in the space. Awesome. And then just kind of does it off the cuff. He was working on these really cool golden bull statues that I was going to buy one from him. And then at the end, it didn't, I guess it didn't pan out. He couldn't like get it manufactured or something, but we've kept in touch quite a bit. So that's how that came about.
Awesome. Who was that?
I think it goes by, I can't remember, remembering people's exact Twitter names, but I think it might actually be BitArt or something like that.
Oh, that is his.
Probably
okay.
Look it up.
I got you. Awesome.
Look it up.
Yeah, that's good. It's I wonder if he's doing NFTs now, because I've been collecting NFTs like a madman. So
yeah, his BitArt either 018 or 018. I think it's 018.
I'm gonna go check him out. Or 018. Because I'm gonna have to add something to my collection if he's doing NFTs. So
Scott, have you ever used a crypto ATM at all?
I haven't actually. But I found out that I live in Gainesville, Florida, kind of like a small, like North Shore. I grew up here, and then I
got a buddy that lives in Gainesville.
Yeah, I lit a match on the way out. I was like, never coming back. And 20 something years later, I had kids. It was like, I need help, and brought them back to my parents. So I know there's one here. I've actually never used one, but I've seen them, and I've seen them used, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I haven't. But my very good friend, Hasib Awan, who now runs a company called Afani, which is basically it's like a competitor to Verizon, T-Mobile, a phone carrier that he protects your SIM card. So I have phone service with him after being SIM swapped. He basically puts like 11, 12 layer military grade protection on your SIM card. You have to talk to him personally if you want to get a SIM swap, and you have to know everything about it. It's pretty incredible. But he invented the Bitcoin ATM. That's what I was trying to get at.
Oh, really?
He was actually the guy who invented that. And he has crazy stories like going to the Miami Bitcoin conference, and like 12 of them, like him, I think it was like Eric Townsend and Vitalik, are all like in a 4-bedroom house or something, like sleeping on the couches and stuff in the early 2010s.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. So I've never used one, but I think
well,
it's
if you ever get a chance, look up CoinFlip ATM.
I've seen CoinFlip. Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of them in Gainesville, actually.
There's a bunch of them in Florida, and those guys have the best fees, cheapest fees in the industry. So if you're up to using one, or if you're thinking about throwing some cash, some dirty fiat in one, go check out the CoinFlip machines, and you won't be disappointed. Let me tell you what, they're quick. It's easy. Yeah. I love it.
I'll totally do that. Yeah. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Sort of like on my list that never for
the
some
bucket
reason
list,
happens,
the crypto bucket list. What's on your crypto bucket list?
Yeah.
Love it.
So 23andMe thinks you're an elite power athlete. Is that true?
Not since COVID.
Used to be ex-elite power athlete. Used to
I would
be into a gymnast, right? Early.
I did CrossFit for a
ago.
long time, but I was far from elite. Like not even the best in my own gym, you know. But it was something that I really enjoyed and did quite a bit of.
That's what matters,
as I mentioned, you know, I have ADD, you know, and for me, exercise is the singular thing that sort of mitigates it. At least I can, during that time when I'm actually surfing is the other one, but like surfing or doing that is the only time like I can put my phone away and put my brain to rest and actually focus on kind of what I'm doing. It just calms my brain. So, but the nature of ADD is that you get really bored doing the same thing over and over again. So when I found CrossFit, it was sort of like different every day, you know, so it wasn't really it was just an exercise program that sort of suited my brain, I guess. And so it was something that I would do definitely like quite a lot of. But it's funny, I mean, since COVID, I'll probably never go back at this point. I mean, I'm in my 40s. It's pretty bad for your body. Like I've enjoyed not having shoulder, hip, knee, and nostril vacuum pain, you know, for the past 6 months. So I've just become one of those like weirdo cardio dudes who runs down the side of the street like a psycho. I've lost like 13 pounds since COVID started or something crazy like that.
Most people gain.
Yeah, most people are gaining weight, but just all like whatever muscle mass I had. But like I said, I mean, honestly, at this age, it's probably better to just do like very low impact stuff and get your heart rate up. But yeah, I was always athletic. I played a lot of sports in high school and, you know, nothing at the college level or anything, but yeah, definitely enjoyed it a lot.
So if you, oh yeah, it's gone. I had a professor.
It's gone. Oh, your turn for that.
I had a professor. Oh, your podcast.
Are you going to call it
what?
Professor
What
Moment?
inspired you?
No, bullshit.
See how quick that? No, I got it really quick.
How many times no, I'm just kidding. I'll give you shit. We don't want to start counting because I'm actually not sure that I'll come out on top of that.
We don't want to start counting. Trust me.
Don't start a competition
It's
when you know you've already lost.
No.
So
yeah, exactly.
what inspired you to start a podcast? And congratulations on your 50 episodes, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. It's amazing how fast they go, right?
It is. It really is.
It's also amazing at how much better you get at it with time. Like it's almost embarrassing to listen to my first ones. It was so like forced, you know, and I just didn't know what I was doing. I never really listened to a podcast. So I just kind of was like, yeah, podcast. Okay. So Blockworks is a company and they actually approached me with the idea of doing one.
Oh,
they produce Pomp's podcast, Luke Martin, Charlie Shrem, Meltem Demirs, you know, like all the not anonymous people in crypto who have podcasts.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we had Blockworks on the show. Do you remember that?
Yep, I do.
Yeah, they're awesome.
That was fun.
So,
great.
Who'd you have, Michael or Jason? Maybe Yano? Yeah, he's awesome. Jason Yanowitz. And so they sort of approached me about it, and I was like, I don't have the bandwidth really to do this, you know what I mean? Trading and doing all these other things. And they were like, well, here's the deal. Like you kind of show up and you know, you're responsible for the interview, but we'll kind of do the rest. So they produce it. You know, I upload the files and I walk away and they tell me when it's going to be out. And
that's nice.
You know, and
we need to call Jason back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We need to call Yanowitz.
Yeah. You need to do my editing, please.
Yeah. So yeah, right. So like I just didn't want to learn, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was not, and so it kind of started from them pushing me and sort of compelling me to do it. Like I said, I've never had really like been into podcasts. I didn't know the structure, but I figured I can talk to someone for an hour.
It's easy to get hooked, isn't it?
It is. And what you find, and I talk about this all the time, it's amazing that you get to call anyone you want. And because everybody just inherently likes to hear themselves talk and whatever, right. They'll talk to you for an hour about like something you don't know much about that they're the best at, you know, and it's like free college. It's unbelievable, you know, and at this age, you know, like I wasted college when I was actually there. So like I better learn something in my life, you know, and I feel like I'm learning more now by doing this podcast than I've ever learned before in my life.
For sure.
And just like it's like if you could choose a college and pick all your own professors from everywhere around the world, and they would show up and give you a lecture. It really is. It's amazing. So,
but they all have pretty much the same background for the most part.
That's
or the
true.
Same interest, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, the same interest.
I've tried to, and I will be a lot more. Like the original concept of mine was to sort of not be the same crypto conversation that everybody's having, even if it was the same guests, to have it be a little more personal, like backstory, whatever. But then the world got real. I launched it like the first one came out like the week COVID hit.
Oh shit.
So, and then like the world got serious, and like we had to we basically like tabled the first 6 or 7 that I had recorded because they were like so lighthearted and funny and whatever. And it was like, nobody wanted to hear that right then. They wanted to hear like how many cases there were in their county, and we've sort of slowly found the original spirit of it, I think, coming back. But my goal was always to sort of like just hear good stories from cool, interesting people, whether in crypto or not, or superficially or whatever. So we've had athletes and, like a very pretty diverse crowd. And I intend to definitely spread the wings a little further. I mean, I love what Pomp does, just gets every kind of person on there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So
there's a lot of information coming out of his. It's so deep. I mean, the guests that he gets on, like you say, it's like you say, finding the best experts in the field that you possibly could, and then all of a sudden they just get on there and they dump everything they possibly know for an hour, it seems. And it's unbelievable. I so love doing this, just because we started it because we're like, well, 140 characters on Twitter just doesn't cut it. So
that's why I started a newsletter. Yeah, exactly.
And we can talk to people and have a real conversation, and then it goes from there. And you just learn so much. It's incredible to be able to ask questions to some people that you may never be able to have answered in a normal context.
Ever.
And the beauty is there's so much variety in all the podcasts that are out there. I mean, you have a podcast that pretty much covers everything, right? You have Pops, for a lot of different information. You have Peter McCormick for a lot of different information. Ours, ours is more like just a chilled conversation. I mean, is all it is.
Yeah, I love it.
We like to bring people on, find out about them, talk about what we're all passionate about, right? And get some history, and it just sitting around a campfire drinking a beer. I mean, how much more chill and laid back does it get than that?
Yeah, it's awesome, and I think it's a great concept, and it's unique, and it's a lot more fun than a lot of the conversations that I've definitely had. I mean, I love it. I love it. It's like evening. I should be drinking a beer. I don't know. I totally slipped on that one.
I was like, 15 minutes beforehand, I'm like, I gotta go right up to the party store because I was out of beer.
I've been pounding them on I've had like a fantasy football draft every night this week, and I can't like draft a fantasy football team without at least like a slight buzz. So maybe I needed a break anyways.
Totally stuck on these Bell's Two-Hearted Ales though. These things are like my favorites. I don't know.
I'll never have one. As long as it's not White Claw, you can keep your man card.
Yeah, no, I don't drink White Claw. Sorry.
One of my good friends who's on Twitter as well. He goes by Crypto ISO on Twitter, and he only talks about White Claw like every day. And he's the only person on Twitter that I troll. I don't troll anyone for anything, but I make fun of him every time he talks about White Claw.
All right, so I got one more question for you, and then I think Mitch has one after that. But do you have any ridiculous grudges that you still hold from your childhood?
From my child, no. I know that's like sounds like a weird story, but like I actually had like sort of a, I don't know if it's maturity or whatever, but there was definitely a turning point. It's not like a significant single moment or anything. Probably getting married and having kids and just getting to a certain age where I really, really like became a very positive person and eliminated any negativity, gripes, conflict in my life, which is funny because
I love it.
You reach a certain point in social media, that's sort of the influencer thing we were talking about before, where people are just kind of constantly on the attack, so it's I just get trolled a lot, and there's people out there with equally large accounts who are anonymous and attack me quite frequently, and I don't know why. I certainly didn't do anything to them. but I hold no, like, and I've even said this on Twitter, like my olive branch is literally extended to everyone at all times. You know, I have love for everyone. I just want to be happy. I want my kids to be happy. Like there's
Love
not
that.
really, it's just, I'm at a point in my life where it's like, who has time to be miserable or to like fight?
Seriously, 100%.
You know, and
Here's the
then you
thing.
look at life and the country as a whole and the world, and like everybody's just mad all the
There's
time.
too
Like, I
much
don't wanna be
fucking
mad,
anger
man.
already. Why do we need more?
I hang
know?
out. Just want to
And
hang out.
it's one of those things where it's like we can always agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything. And it takes so much more energy to be a prick than it does to just be happy. And it's like more often than not, I think the reason people troll others, you know, especially like say in your situation or other situations that are out there, is pure jealousy. Like I grew up in a carpenter's trade, right? I grew up in the trades. I was a worker in the union, you know, and it was always this little freaking drama battle, right? And the only people that talk shit about other people are the ones that feel inferior themselves.
Right.
Is
Or
what it
it's just
boils
like
down
they're
to.
unhappy and kind of the only thing they know how to do is try to bring you down to their level. Like your
Right.
happiness pisses them off. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone, yeah, jealousy, whatever it is. I just think that there's, you know, there's a lot of very unhappy people in the world for very good reason, you know, and I just have no reason to be unhappy. Like I have a great life, you know, and I'm going to appreciate that every day that I'm here. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, like my best friend in the whole world knocked me out when we were kids. That sucked in front of his dad. His dad literally like, we had one pair of boxing gloves and we went down in his basement in Florida, which is the only basement probably in all of Florida because their house was like built on a hill so they could have a basement. And his dad gave each of us a boxing glove. One. So it was like bare fist, one or the other. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? His dad's like, go. I was like, what do you mean go? And my best friend literally just knocked me out. Like my hands were down. I was turned and talking to him and he knocked me out. So maybe that, you know, I'm over it now, but that sucked. But I can't really think of, you know, there were, I got in my share of fights and, you know, whatever, like any kids. But, you know, first of all, also we're older. So back then when you got in a fight, you actually got in a fight and usually you resolved it afterwards. Like you all got up off the ground and then it was over forever, right?
Yeah.
It was done.
Yeah.
Like
we all realized that it didn't feel good to get hit in the face and maybe we should.
Yeah. And you also like didn't then go like have social media to post about it on, and you didn't have a way to sort of perpetuate it beyond like that, the 5 people that happen to be there and whatever. And I think it's just a very different world now where you like the things that people say to each other on the internet now would have gotten you knocked the F out every day when I was growing up in YouTube. Right. And, you know, so it's just a different world. And I think people, you know, feel very bold behind their anonymity. And
Johnny Lykind likes to call them keyboard warriors. I love it.
Yeah. But like there was no way to anonymously troll someone when we were kids.
No.
How would you do that?
Right.
If you had something to say, you had to say it to someone's face or to someone they knew who was going to tell you that they said it and they would know exactly who you were and you're going to fight after school.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So last question of the night, Scott. What's on the top of your bucket list? What one thing do you want to do in your life more than anything else?
I want to nerd out hard and go to New Zealand and like live the Lord of the Rings, I think.
Really? Lord of the Rings. Oh my God. I love it.
I was a huge, my whole like childhood room was decorated with Lord of the Rings.
You stuff. A Legolas guy or who's your favorite?
I think I was more of like an Aragorn, like, you know,
Aragorn?
Go humans. But I mean, Legolas is awesome. And it's funny, like, you know, there's that project now it's Eagle, but Elrond, you know, the ERD. And I immediately had Benjamin, like the CEO, on the podcast. And I was like, why'd you call it Elrond? That's all I wanted to know. It was like to talk about the Lord of the Rings. And, you know, I became friends with them, like bonding over the Lord of the Rings. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things I want to do. I've been most places, but there's still a lot of places that most of it I would say would revolve around travel.
Okay.
And that used to be more of, I think, like a selfish thing. Like I wanted to see these places. And then, you know, now I want to like take my kids to see all the places that I've seen in my life and stuff. So I would say that most of the like crazy stuff I've done, like I used to go skydiving and I've gone bungee jumping and I've dove off cliffs and all those kind of things, and I love surfing and all that.
Yeah.
I went skiing for the first time last year, which was awesome. That was definitely
Nice.
high on my list of things I just never gotten around to. I don't know. I would say that, it just plays sort of back into my mentality about everything, which is that experiences trump, material things or any items or anything else. So I just want
They stay with you forever, though.
Right. And this is a very hard time to feel that way because you just can't experience anything, it feels like. And so like, I just want to have more experiences before I die, gather. I don't think I'll ever look back on life and be like, damn, I wish I'd had that car that I wanted when I was 30, but I'll definitely look back and be like, I wish I'd seen the Great Wall.
Right.
Exactly. Or I wish I had done so-and-so with my kids or things like that. And, so I try to live my life with that in mind because you guys know it all happens so fast.
It's gone.
I can't believe I'm in my 40s. I feel like I'm an 18-year-old still.
Dude, I can't believe my kids are in their mid-20s.
That's crazy. Yeah.
No, it is crazy.
I had kids. I'm just saying I had kids very late, I'm 43 and my son was born last year. So, they're still really
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Oh man, what a
right.
Dude, I don't know.
He's awesome though, isn't it?
He's awesome, but I don't know who. Like every time I turn, the other day I came in. He's only 15 months old now. He like ran past me, and I didn't think much of it. I was like, "It's cool. He's fine. It'll be 30 seconds. I'll go check on him." I came in, and he was sitting in the sink in his bathroom. He was like a foot tall. Yep. Like how the hell did he climb up?
Fucking magic, man. I've got 3 boys, and they've done so many things that it's like, what? How did you even think that was a thing? How did you come up with that?
My daughter would my daughter, when she was a baby, she's 5, she would like just sit around and look at books and like whatever. And this dude, every time I turn around, it's like, oh, you've got a butcher knife and you're standing on one foot.
What are you doing
on a moving car? It's like insane.
Yeah, no.
Oh shit, dude.
And
this is
vigilant.
This has been incredible. I knew we'd have fun, but I didn't think we'd have quite this much fun. This was a great podcast, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Scott. This was incredible. Definitely.
Thank you guys. It's a real honor, and I'll do it again, man. Anytime. This is really, really fun.
Hell yeah, it was. Oh, yeah.
So
we'll catch you on Twitter, man. Thank you so much again.
See you there.
Peeps, if you get a chance, get out there, use your CoinFlip ATMs, or you can use coinflip.tech.
Coinflip.tech. You look at me like you want me to give that last intro, but you didn't do your whole part first.
I did. What do you mean I didn't do my whole part?
I'm just blaming you. I'm just blaming you. Everybody that's listening right now, they're going to blame you guys.
I got big
blame
shoulders.
Mitch. It's Mitch's fault. He did it. All right. Coinflip.tech. Check it out. There's definitely ATM maps on there. And I know that we're going to get Scott. You got to go out and try Coinflip ATM. They're amazing. I know that everybody invented ATMs, but we're still going to point you.
No, I will.
And hit us up, and we'll get you a discount code too.
I put on my long rubber gloves and
your face mask,
get out there,
face shield, and
get out there and use the ATM.
Check it out. If you guys look them up and there's not one in your area, let us know. Let CoinFlip know, and we'll try to get one out there. And if you really need to, you can go to coinflip.tech and buy your crypto on their website. So check them out.
All right, guys. Until next time, have a good one.
Take it easy.
Peace.